G'day viewers, well I've recapped this device as I've been recapped. This one works really well now. STC 559 with a big proper full size incandescent light globe for a dial lamp. I put an LED one in there so it doesn't burn that and discolor it off in the heat. It's pretty good, doesn't interfere with the audio. So really well, very strong the dial, with a bit of a nightmare, but it goes. Just missed the one knob. This one works really well. It rattles the windows. Now this other one, a 543, didn't really need much though until it was already restored when I got it. Other than that, these things get pot metal disease, these models. Has a gear driven dial for the pointer. This has a magic eye too, and that's working nice and strong. Yeah, pot metal disease. Look at that, just gone all puffy. It's like the Phillips cheese gear syndrome with their tape decks. This is the same thing, but back in the 1930s. This is zinc pot metal, gets moisture in it, and it just goes all like this. Destroys itself. There's a guy on the Historic Radio of the Society of Australia, which I've just joined actually. I recently joined the HRSA, so through that membership I was able to get access to a guy who custom makes these out of turns one of these out of aluminium on a lathe, makes that bit, and makes this bit out of brass, screws it on with a shaft. So not too badly priced. He makes them for a lot of people because it's a very common issue with his TCs. So I got that bit done. The only thing I'm going to make now is the bit that the tuning knob goes on, like a square tube. It's made of that same pot metal, and it's got this bolts on that holds the tuning capstan and the weight on the knob, with a bearing assembly that holds all this for the tuning string that go on. That's all collapsed. It's made out of that same pot metal. I have to remanufacture that bit, and that's just a bit of square steel, probably 1 inch square. Put holes in it for threads, and a hole all the way through it to put the shaft through and make a new carrier bearing assembly. You have to make one of those up. Here's some culprits, old capacitors. I'm going to keep the guts out, take the guts out and keep them to relabel and make my old capacitors and make new capacitors look like the originals. I've also had my Phillips Jubilee 4 down there. That's been sitting in the back corner of my shed, forgotten about for ages. Finally sourced a new valve for that, and got that recapped and got that going and cleaned up. Works quite well now. This does work alright, but needs recapping. The radio stopped working now, just got amplifier noises, so I stopped using it too. I have changed one cap, but I've only using it when I'm here for like a couple of minutes at a time. But yeah, I'm surprised that only electrolytics were replaced in this, but the other caps are still original. So I dim bulbed this and ran it for a bit, then it reformed the original filter capacitor. But no, it's actually I replaced. It came good, but it still had some humps, so I replaced it. It was better, but yeah, it doesn't perform like it should, and the radio stops working. So I'm going to recap this one. It'll be that's a model M290 Tasma, pretty rare actually. So I want to keep that one there well looked after. That one there, it's not a very common, commonly found. So I was lucky to get that one. This radio here, Magic Eye as well. This is a nice one. I've recapped all this. It's got the Magic Eye that goes up there. Now this, the humbucker coils, hum effort or open. It's open circuit, so that's has to be rewound. I'm getting voltage out of the pins. I got the second to that. I don't think that transformer was okay. Yeah, the humbucker's open, so I remember the previous owner, I got this off and what I used it years ago, and then they just stuffed, they burnt the humbucker out. But I could not see any other components on the heat damaged. Like I tested this in another radio, this still works alright. The audio output valve works alright, I tested that in another set, substitute tested. They all worked alright. I couldn't find any burnt resistors under there, they all checked fine, so I just recapped it all. Just got to rewind this. Will be a bit of a challenge. Got to get the kit. David Tipton's got all the kit and the software. You punch in on the computer, and it tells you how much copper coil wire you're going to need to rewind it to. Yeah, the software is pretty easy to get hold of. But it's just getting the machines. You get the little Chinese machines he's got. Takes a bit of skill and practice to master one of those. Maybe I'll eventually get some of those. But, he's also in HRSA, so there'll be other guys in the HRSA that do that as well, like custom make coils and things. Also, this Stromberg Carlson Model 574, I've sourced. I've actually bought some new old stock 42s and 80s. Have a spare because I don't have any of those. So I got some of those as spare. This also I think has a bad, I've also owned this up, but I think this is also open as well, but the guy I got this off kind of botched it a bit and hacked in some diodes, 1N4001s in place of the 80. So I gotta dig it and trace up the schematic for this one and do some reverse engineering to undo all the botch work. Hopefully he hasn't damaged anything. This is a 1935 model Tasma. The original cabinet comes up in Radio Museum, which I know what it looks like, but that's long gone on this one. He's put a really good high quality Sprague, Vishay Sprague pot. Multi-turn pot. For the, I think that's for the volume. That's the tone on off, I think. Yeah, to do some work on this one. Be nice to get this one going. Here I've got a Stromberg Carlson 5A50. I've had this in my shed for a while, collecting a lot of dust. I thought I had the original valve. Some of the valves are missing on this. I got most of them sourced, I had some. But this one was a 6X4 GT, or 6X4G, which I didn't have, so I had to order that in. I had it on a dim bulb, which is, yeah, full current, so started recapping it, and I stopped when I was waiting for this valve to arrive. So I have it on the dim bulb, had it on my little 10 amp kettle element ballast, and yeah, full brightness, and the element started getting a bit, I didn't have it for long, I had it current limited, because you don't want to, if there's one of these is shorted, and that would pop your valve and your power transformer, so you got to be very careful. But yeah, I had it on a dim bulb, and that was enough to go, hang on, these are short, so I'm going to have to, I want to start recapping this and get this going. I'm going to botch on the speaker because the voice coil is gone on this one. I've aimed everything up, everything aims up fine, bar the voice coil because that's destroyed, that's gone. So I can take this all off, I might be able to, if I can dig up the specs of the speaker for this radio, I might be able to see what the, I think it's, I'm pretty sure it's 3 ohms, 3 ohm coil, I'm not 100% sure. And go from there and then work out how much turns I need. And make up a new voice coil, because the cone's actually pretty good. You see there's degraded and the coil's gone. It was open circuit anyway, so that's what sort of I did test it initially. That's all open circuit anyway. So anyway, I'll botch on a speaker for testing purposes. And we'll start recapping this one. It's a bit of restoration work we're doing this one. I have got all the cabinet. The record player for it also needs a lot of work. This is a radiogram, by the way. Very, yeah, very run down, this one. These are also available too. There's reproduction ones of these available, so it should be nice once it's all done. Okay, viewers, I'll play some capacitors. I was working for a bit of time, bottom on the globe, and this started getting hot. We've got a negative here, which is bonded to here. So, interesting little design there. Axial hybrid radial capacitor. So I gotta fix up some got some station there. Heterodyning. Oh, it's better set a bit of drop, quite loud. So U6, 6BA6, 6BE6. Bit of corrosion on this pin socket and this valve. Fix that. Try it on full power now. Let's see, on full power. So it's pretty happy with the dim bulb. No. Rightio. Overload there. Something not happy there with the overloading there. It's like an that's not hot. That's not hot. Be careful there because they can start charging us. Something to go remember with high voltage valve radios. They have a lot in common. You don't want to get shocked, especially with DC. It's kind of ticklish, but it's not. Anyway, it is all working, which is really good. Gotta do some tidying up under here, do some corrosion checks, clean that pin socket out. I had a bit of a station there, but it's had the heterodyning, like as a bad grounding somewhere in the IF section. So I've got to check the IF section over, check that resistor. Maybe that resistor could be... Could the resistors go on the ground? There's a resistor here go on the ground. I wonder if that's opened. It looks like it's all deteriorated. I can't see the printing on it. I will check the resistors next and see if any of those are open. Because that resistors go on the ground from the IF. Normally if something like that's open, if one of these isn't grounded or shielded, you'll get that overload humming and motor burning sort of effect. So anyway, that's set. It's not a 51811 because a 51811 is all miniatures. It doesn't have these two valves. These are both miniatures on the 51811. I did some more digging deeply. This is actually an earlier version of that model, which is a 5858, which hence it's got the 6V6 GT and the 6X4 GT. Anyway, getting there slowly. I've got to pick up some pizzas, dinner for the family, so that'll be enough for now for this one. Thanks for watching.